Sparky has always been considered unique because it had the maximum damage among all troops in the game. However, during the release period of this card, it quickly gained a reputation as one of the weakest and remained in this status for a long time. But why? Let's go through the history of Sparky together and see what impact it had on the game as a whole. But before we start, let's start with the basics. Sparky is a giant machine that shoots electricity. She appeared in the game on May 3rd, 2016 and immediately received the status of a legendary card. But it wasn't just about rarity, her mechanics were very different from anything we had seen before. The essence of its attack was that Sparky charged a shot right while moving, and once the charge was ready, it could hold it until an enemy unit was less than 4.5 tiles away. At that moment, Sparky released a powerful electric volley that dealt more damage than any other card in the game. Moreover, each strike was so strong that it pushed the machine back by 1.5 tiles. And in 2016, it seemed incredible. After all, there was no other card with a similar effect. But like any strong card, Sparky had its weaknesses. The first thing that stood out was its health. Yes, it could survive a lightning strike, but the same rocket would destroy it completely. And yet, that was not its main drawback. The real problem lay elsewhere, in its attack speed. Sparky took a whole 5 seconds to charge, which is catastrophically long by Clash Royale standards. And because of this, cards like Zap or Freeze became a deadly threat to her. After all, they completely reset the accumulated charge, turning the 6 elixir machine into useless metal. Imagine, you spend 1 second on setup, wait 5 seconds for charging, then another 0.4 seconds for the shot. You get stunned by a zap for 1 second, charge again for 5 seconds, and only then prepare for a repeat strike. In total, that's almost 13 seconds. And all this time, the opponent can calmly take apart your Sparky. Now add to this the fact that in those years, Zap was used in almost 98% of all decks. It's not surprising that in the first weeks after the release, Sparky showed exactly 0% usage in the top ladder. People just didn't see the point in adding it to decks. After the release, it became obvious that Sparky needed a buff, but instead of directly strengthening the card, Supercell decided to influence the situation indirectly. One of the first changes was reducing the stun duration of Zap from 1 second to half a second. This still disrupted the charge, but at least allowed Sparky to shoot a bit more often. However, players didn't have long to rejoice. Already in September 2016, the developers strengthened the lightning by adding a stun effect. And with the release of the Ice Spirit, the number of cards capable of disrupting Sparky's charge increased to 4. It was then that the community finally cemented the nickname Trash Can on Wheels for it. Players increasingly expressed dissatisfaction. In their opinion, Supercell was simply ignoring the card, which was hardly played in the top ladder. Her usage level remained around 0, and fans increasingly demanded a full buff. Finally, after a year and a half, the developers decided on direct changes. Various options were discussed. Some suggested giving Sparky a shield that would protect her from being stunned. Others believe she should also attack air. But in the end, in October 2017, Supercell took a different path. The attack speed of Sparky was reduced from 5 to 4 seconds, while its damage was decreased by 15%. Now, to destroy a tower, it required not 2 but 3 shots. Unfortunately, this brought almost no real benefit. By December of the same year, the card's usage rate was back to 0%. Another year passed, and only in October 2018 did the Goblin Giant appear in the game. This card itself was not considered top tier, but together with Sparky, it looked decent. They had some synergy. However, the joy was short-lived. In the same period, Supercell released the Electro Dragon and Electro Spirit. Both cards could disrupt the charge, and now players had as many as 7 ways to completely neutralize Sparky's attack. In such conditions, its position became increasingly vulnerable, and its reputation as a trash can on wheels only solidified. On December 5th, 2018, Sparky finally received the long-awaited buff. Its attack range was increased from 4.5 to 5 tiles. At first glance, the change seems minor, but in reality, it played a huge role. Now Sparky's range matched that of the Electro Wizard, and most importantly, the time for her first attack was 0.5 seconds, whereas for the Electro Wizard it was 0.6. This meant that in a direct confrontation, it was Sparky that struck first. After this change, the card began to show real potential for the first time and started to look competitive. Simje, ni dai tinka yaziake. But the player's joy did not last long. Just 2 days later, the buff was cancelled. It turned out that along with this update, erroneous changes were introduced into the game, and the developers reverted the stats to their previous values. It was unpleasant, but at least it became clear that Supercell was looking for ways to strengthen the card. Then 2019 arrived, and already in the first week of January, the developers officially confirmed Sparky's attack range would indeed be increased to 5 tiles. As a result, its usage did increase, although only to 5%. For a card that was considered dead for 2 whole years, this was already a decent result. However, soon the Elixir Golem appeared in Clash Royale, a unique unit that was very cheap but gave the opponent Elixir upon its death. It became a salvation for Sparky. Now, massive attacks could be built using much fewer resources. In combination with the Goblin Giant, its usage rose to 12%, and the combo became quite popular. But this success did not last forever. After some time, the combo stopped working as effectively, and Sparky reverted to playing with the Goblin Giant. And in November 2020, the card unexpectedly received a nerf. Many players did not understand why weaken a unit that was already considered far from overpowered. But the reason lay not in the ladder, but in the grand challenge. Sparky's win rate reached 56%, which was noticeably above average. As a result, the developers increased the time of its first attack from half a second to 1 second. This made the Electro Wizard faster again, and Sparky lost its main advantage. This balance patch turned out to be the last significant change in its history. Next comes a sharp jump to the year 2023. That's when Supercells seriously buffed the Goblin Giant, and its combo with Sparky shone with new colors again. It can be said that this is one of the most stable combinations in the game. This day, their strength and popularity always rose and fell in sync. This is how Sparky's history unfolded. Throughout its existence, it received only 3 targeted changes. But if we talk about its state today, the picture is not the most optimistic. The card usage level remains at only 3%. Yes, the Sparky combo with the Goblin Giant can still be seen in matches, but not as often as before. Thank you all very much for watching.
If you liked the video, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and be sure to write in the comments which card to make the next story about. Is it an 18?